NOA Lithium says it has one of the last significant project portfolios in the Lithium Triangle, not owned by a major or mid-tier. Taj Singh is president and CEO. Taj, welcome to Kitco.
Thank you for having us, Michael.
Before we get to NOA and the asset, maybe you can explain first, what is the Lithium Triangle?
Yeah, so the Lithium Triangle is a lithium-rich region in the Andean southwest corner of South America, and it spans the borders of Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia, and it forms a geographic triangle of lithium resources, which are laying underneath the salt flats of the countries as brines. 60% of the world's lithium resources and production, roughly, come from this area, and so it truly is a lithium country. I can't think of any commodity that has resources and production so concentrated in one region. So the high geological prospectivity of the lithium here, because of the natural deposits of lithium brines, combined with the high plains, arid climate of the region, unique again to this region of the world, make this the lowest cost lithium production kind of region in the world.
Now, you come from the precious metals side. You were CEO of Discovery Silver. You're also director at GT Gold, which was taken out by Newmont a handful of years ago for just under $400 million. So you know a lot about that space. Maybe you could talk about the players, though, in the Lithium Triangle. Who are they? And I think how would you say? I think that there's a couple more. There's a couple more larger giants or companies that leave a larger footprint on the space compared to the precious metal space.
Yeah, that's a good point. So in this area in the Lithium Triangle that we just talked about, in the Lithium Triangle, you have major companies. We're talking 10, 20 billion plus kind of companies. Ganfeng, SQM, Albemarle, Livent, which used to be FMC. Then you've got also major multi-billion-dollar diversifieds. Rio Tinto's there now, about to start an operation not far from us, actually. Eramet, big French company. POSCO, huge Korean steel maker, all in lithium here. So big companies. And then kind of the up-and-coming majors, if you will, are for companies like Lithium Americas, Allkem, which was the merger of Orocobre and Galaxy. So those are kind of the mid-tier, if you will, still very large, much more than $1 billion market cap. And then you've actually got a host of about, several other companies in kind of the $500 million to $1 billion range. So honestly, virtually all the players are in this Lithium Triangle in one way or another.
How did you find your way to this current project, Taj?
So the project kind of background and history, the founders of NOA are the same founders as AbraSilver, which is based in the same region with their asset. They've had huge success over the past 3-4 years, growing their market cap substantially.
Sorry, just to interject. That's in Argentina, correct?
Correct. Yes, actually in Argentina, right in the same region, not too far from where our assets are located. And so those same founders were also executives at Ganfeng and Lithium Americas at one point, which are again two of the larger players in the region. And so for the past couple of years, as a private company, NOA was putting together a portfolio, which I think a lot of the majors and mid-tiers wish that they could get their hands on. And so opportunistically, they're from Argentina. They're rooted in the Puna region, that northwest part of Argentina that's in the triangle is known as the Puna. The high plains kind of area, and they've been doing mining deals here for over 30 years. So through their networks, contacts, they got very meaningful projects of good size and technical potential. They acquired them before lithium kind of rocketed up in price, so that saved money. And they strategically picked assets that had work done on them, which lowered the technical risk, but were still relatively underexplored. So again, lowering the price tag. And so the current project portfolio now, I think, without even doing any work on it, for example, just the actual size of the claims and the location that they're in is much more than the current enterprise value of the company. So really a strategic way to put the portfolio together so rapidly.
Now, Taj, there's a lot of development in the Lithium Triangle, a lot of people that are building big projects that has created some growing concerns in the area. What's the state of being able to advance your own project?
I think we're in a very favorable state. A lot of the infrastructure is built up already for us. which ends up saving us dollars, not having, for example, to build expensive roads to get to our deposits. So it's an inherent advantage for us. Big companies are thinking about putting, for example, Ganfeng is considering putting a concentrate plant in Salta, nearby major city of Salta, which would then mean the final destination of the concentrates could stay within country. YPF, a big large petroleum company now moving into lithium, is also thinking about potentially making a lithium battery manufacturing plant in a major city in Argentina. So all of these things is really an indication that the support is there from the government. And the interesting thing about the Puna region is that it's remote. I mean, there's not many people there, but yet there's still quite a bit of an infrastructure now already set up because it is a major producing region. Power's there, several power corridors are there, transportation, including major international rail is there. There's a major port nearby just over the border of Chile. So all of that infrastructure has been set up, and there's just so many operations, and it really does have the support of the states around the provinces, as well as the country, as well as even the greater community. So I really think it's kind of game on for lithium in the region we're in, and I really see these projects moving forward pretty rapidly.
Now, you've run junior miners before. You've run them in the precious metal space. What's similar in the lithium space, Taj, and what's different?
The similarities are, the overall process of running the company is relatively similar when you've got a startup and a junior and you're trying to grow it. But really, the two key characteristics that I think that for sure are similar is you have to have an asset and you have to have a team. You need to have an asset or assets that can underpin a meaningful value and can be grown in value, hopefully substantially. And that asset has to be in the right location. So there has to, it has to be in an area that has seen operations nearby and is pro mining that can push projects forward, which I alluded to in the previous question. So asset and team, that's the similarities I see that you're still going to need regardless of what commodity we're talking about. Differences, a couple of differences I've noted is that lithium stocks don't seem to be affected so strongly by the underlying commodity price. They're definitely linked, but it's not like precious where you're seeing huge sentiment changes based on precious metals changes and obviously then associated big movements in share prices. I think people know that lithium prices will remain strong over the next decade plus. So even if you choose a very conservative assumption of price, you can determine if a project is economically feasible. So you're not having to convince people of what the price will be as much, really, whereas in precious you do. And because a lot of assets in precious I've seen, they kind of rely on X gold price or silver price to kind of work. And based on that price, it can drastically change the company's market and the investor sentiment. On the technical side, just to close out, I'm going to be speaking mainly as brines versus hard rock. I've always been in hard rock mining my whole life, but now moving into brines, it's quite different, obviously, than precious. Again, more akin to oil and gas in a way. The technical risks to me seem much lower as an engineer. Because the deposits are so much more continuous. Obviously, it's all flat, very expansive. So the technical risk seems much lower, and the exploration costs are much, much cheaper. I found a handful of holes, and you can get a resource within a good area. And in the precious space, even base metal space, depending on the type of system, you obviously have to do a lot more exploration to really delineate the deposit. So those are kind of the major kind of similarities and differences I see on this side.
When you say, just to clarify, when you're talking about continuous, that means that you see the similar trends carrying on in the geology, whereas if you're at some hard rock, it might be folding or might be dipping or something like that.
Exactly. I mean, you'll see these, in these basins, you'll see the folding, the faulting, which causes changes in the deposit, but much more on a larger scale. And thus the drilling that you need can be much more wider spaced. And exactly as you noted, in these other systems that can be very discrete, you'll have to drill very closely, exactly in case some vein pinches out or suddenly a fault has made the deposit go away, or what you will. So it's much more continuous in that sense. Is once you've got a wide spacing, you have a very good understanding of the system.
You noted, Taj, that people are feeling comfortable about the lithium prices, even with this drop off. What's the state of the finance right now for NOA?
So NOA, the total budget for the year was about $7 million, of which we spent about $3 million. We currently have about $5 million in the bank. So we're good to complete this year's work and get to our milestone, which is to produce a resource from our flagship asset. But at the right time, like any junior, we put out results. Hopefully have success, and we wouldn't mind to add to the treasury at progressively higher levels at the right times as we continue to put out results.
I want you to put on your precious metal hat. We're just going to take a little bit of a detour here, but we should I just want to get your thoughts on this really interesting market. We're just having tremendous gold prices. Oil has been better than anybody thought in this first quarter. So that looks like we're going to look at a really good Q1 with coming out from all of the majors. M&A looks possible still right now. When I was last looking at the GDX and also looking at a handful of juniors, they're still lagging right now. They're still off, or should say well off from 52-week highs. What's going on in the space right now, Taj?
Yeah, it's a topic that comes up frequently, even still as I talk to the buy side. And even sell side, but there's really no clear direction, is what it seems. The past several years, we keep hearing gold will go to 2,500 or 3,000, and it just hasn't. And when it even does move decently, investors are wondering if it's you're getting head faked out on the price. So people are hesitant, and combined kind of with the socio-political uncertainty of the world, they're just kind of waiting on the sidelines. Generally, investors. And I remember in my analyst days, probably close to about 10 years ago, 1.5 to 2 times NAV for a gold producer was normal, even higher for silver producers. But now 0.5, 0.6, 0.7 for producers. I mean, for developers and explorers, it's even worse. And I think it's related to that, is what is that's commodity price? Where do we see it going? So I think we either need to see all-time highs and or gold price to outpace inflation. And I think it's coming up now. You're going to have a quarter now where, maybe you're going to see that gold price outpace the inflation, and margins are expanding. I think they're waiting for some kind of direction. And hopefully that will do it. Let's see.
Lastly, Taj, milestones at NOA over the next 12 months.
So the main milestones are going to be, first of all, drill results, probably at least once a month from our flagship Rio Grande project, which we've just started drilling. First results expected very soon. Resource by the end of the year or early 2024 at Rio Grande. That'll be the maiden resource at the project. And then we have 2 other projects, which I believe will eventually become flagship projects as well. And I think that's what makes NOA unique, is we have 3 real projects that can all become very meaningful. You'll see geophysics from our Arizaro project and our Salinas Grandes project, again in the same region, not too far away from the Rio Grande project, and to get those ready then for drilling in kind of early 24, late 23. You'll also see geophysics from our flagship Rio Grande project, I wanted to point out, that are targeting some new areas, some brand new areas that have never really seen exploration in the greater Salar area. We have huge positions there, so hopefully some geophysics will give us some good results where we can then begin targeting here and potentially do some new discoveries. So steady news flow expected for the next 12 months at several assets.
Taj, thanks for speaking with Kitco.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thanks for having us.
My name is Michael McRae, and you're watching Kitco Mining.